There we go. I didn't actually test that your video was going to come in because we haven't done this for so long. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. So, Pat, welcome back to Structure Gibberish. It's the podcast with the mostest. Most asked.
Just don't know how to quit.
Nope. The podcast with hosts that don't know when to give up. So
it's accurate.
Today, we have a lot of things to talk about. First off, Pat wants to talk about the elephant in the room, which is, of course, this elephant that I keep just off camera right here. This beard that I'm growing.
Who dared him to grow a beard?
Yeah. My daughter told me to try to grow a beard, and I thought, well, what the heck? We were on vacation in the woods for 2 weeks, and I decided, sure, why not? I'm just not going to shave. I think it's looking okay.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think you're safely past the phase.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter's saying she loves me and she's going to bed.
And what does she think about my beard?
Well, come look at Uncle Brian's beard. Look, Uncle Brian has a beard. She said, "Ooh."
Thank you. That was the correct reaction.
That was an excellent reaction. So, Amanda, see Uncle Brian's beard? Amanda likes your beard too.
Thanks.
So,
Thanks.
All right, everybody out. We're live. Go away.
Tell them to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
I've tried this a couple of times. The first time that I tried it, I don't remember what Halloween costume I was trying to do, but I was like, this would be great with a beard. And there wasn't enough time. And as close as I could get was the weird phase, where it's like you're not quite sure where it's going to grow in at. And like it just feels weird. And then also I always have the goatee. And so it's like it, doesn't match. And you could still see the goatee on top of it for a while. Which you still kind of can because it's a little bit longer than the rest. And
I think that
I got to even it out.
Right now.
Yeah. I'm going to let it grow a little bit more and then I'll kind of flatten it out.
I was going to say, when I started, it was a long time ago. I haven't had a clean shaven face in I don't even know quite how long.
Every so often my phone goes, here's a photo from the past. And it's like you at Comic-Con when we had the booth and you're like completely clean shaven.
Yes. I had the tiniest soul patch. Yeah,
the little soul patch. It's super weird to see that.
Soul patch. Yeah, super weird. But yeah, I feel like I didn't like it for at least a month or two, to be honest. Like I was just like, oh, is it? I don't know. And then just once you get to the point you're at right now looks fine, and it will just keep getting better. You get it, and you get to choose. Do you want to have like a grizzly goofy beard like I do, or do you have like just the nice maintained beard?
Yeah
it adds gravitas, a little bit of
right. It shows. It's kind of in the same way that like having a puppy shows that you can be responsible.
There you go.
I can grow a beard and maintain it and not look like a homeless person or whatever.
Right.
That was probably insensitive.
Or you can choose to go the other way.
Yeah, right, exactly. I have to learn the tips and the tricks now because now I'm looking.
Well, I got them. So
I went over to the Dr. Squatch website, which is where I get my shampoo from, and my weird bar soap that does indeed smell like pine sol, and has bits of wood in it.
Yeah,
for that extra exfoliating.
I get the nerdy ones. Those are the only ones I get. Like I think
the Star Wars.
I finished off. I got a Star Wars 4-pack for Christmas one year, and I didn't use it because it came in such a beautiful box because it was like the nice gift box, and I just had it sitting in the closet, and I would just open the closet and be like, oh, that looks great. And then one day I was just like, oh no, I'm out of my body wash. What am I to do? I was like, and I really liked them. I really do. I mean, they're very. I still use body wash probably 90% of the time because I like the lather you get from that a little bit more. But I love the smell of those soaps.
They are very fragrant. Yeah. We are not sponsored by Dr. Squatch.
No, but we should be.
They
Dr. Squatch, get in touch.
Yeah, they used to advertise a ton, and their commercials were really clever. Like they were funny enough in the same way that like the Old Spice, that one Old Spice commercial where you're just like, what the heck is going on? Their stuff is very, very natural. Like the list of ingredients is very short, and it's basically like exactly what you would expect to be in this thing and not anything more, you know?
Right.
So,
and like I said, I always felt very clean, very fresh. And the smell, it was like you were wearing a cologne for the rest of the day too. You were just like, you know, catching a whiff of yourself, and you're like, all right, I'm whiffing good.
I'm gonna put up the browser here for a second so I could show this, and you'll see one of our upcoming topics in the tabs here. But so I was looking at the crushed pine beard oil. I swear there's like a video down here explaining it, and I swear he says crisp pine beard oil, but I had to zoom in and try to read the instructions because I was like, this looks like an eyedropper, and I'm like, are you supposed to be like, choop, 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 every single hair gets one drop? But no, I get it now. You just gotta
work it in,
kind of thing.
Yeah, I do on my good mornings when I have the time. I have a beard shampoo that I use. So, separate from my hair shampoo.
I don't have any of that, so I'm going to have to get some recommendations.
I have beard oil. I have a special beard brush and a beard comb.
Because I've always had this facial hair, and I usually just hit it with conditioner every so often, is what I've been doing for like the 25 years that I've had that. But this feels like I need more, because this was always straight and pokey, and this needs to be a little softer, little brushy.
Yeah, once I got into the territory of having like enough beard to like pull into a ponytail, I that's when I started looking into this. Like, I feel like I should, because I shampooed, like I shampoo my hair, and I just used to move it right into my beard and condition and everything. But then I was reading that it is better to use actual beard shampoo, and I don't know if it's a line or not, but it lasts a long time. Like I've had a bottle for a very long time, and you just like pump out like 3 or 4 little pumps, and it's plenty to lather up the beard, and yeah, that's good. Oh, that's nice. I like that.
I have a different. They used to sell a different design. I kind of like mine better.
I was gonna say my design is there's a window in my shower, so it sits atop the window.
Anyway, so the beard is good. The thing that prompted the beard, the vacation, was very good.
Nice.
Aside from the second week of air quality issues that were just all over the place, it was hard to breathe. And it kind of it made it so that we couldn't just like go out for an entire day and do stuff. We had to go out for a little bit, come back. We still went to the zoo. We just went there for like an hour, and then came back. Because the zoo way out there, the Potawatomi Zoo, is really small. It's not really small, but it's small enough that you could see like the whole thing in like 2 hours if you take your time. And so we stopped for a while and ate, and then saw the thing. So
there you go.
Yeah. So while we were there, though, there's always times where you can't go out and do stuff. You're in a cabin. You're basically in the woods. Almost every day we went to the beach, because you could walk to the beach. There's a big lake in this national park, and so you can walk to the beach and do that. So we did that pretty much every day. And then the rest of the day, like, we made no plans. So it was like we would go see a movie, or we'd go out to eat somewhere. Notre Dame is really nearby, so we would go out to the Notre Dame like college town area and eat at their little restaurants and stuff. And then the rest of the time, we'd just be back at the cabin like chilling. And there's very little internet. There was more internet than last year. If you got into the right spot, you could actually stream YouTube.
I was going to say, I had more communication with you this year than last.
Yeah, last year it was like we had to drive into town. I would leave my phone in the corner, and every so often, if you texted me like within an hour, my phone might get enough signal to get that text message. And then if we'd have to like drive into town to like respond to things. This year there was a bit more, like you could kind of move around the outskirts of the cabin and get a little bit of signal here and there. So It was harder to disconnect, but at the same time, there were lots of other things to do, which leads me to the topic of I brought my entire stack of unbuilt model kits with me.
Nice.
And worked on these model kits throughout the week, and I wanted to show some of the ones that I have built. So hold on, let me move my water so I don't spill it while I'm doing this. So I have one there's one Transformer one, and then several Power Ranger ones.
Excellent.
Last year when we did this, I built that. It took the entire week. We were only there for a week, and I built that Optimus Prime Lego. And it took a long time, and my son helped quite a bit. Because that thing was like 10 bags of Legos.
Yeah.
Intense. Yeah. So the first one that I built, and this took me basically 5 days of working on it, is this, where we go, Windblade figure.
Ooh,
this does not transform.
That's a nice looking figure.
Yeah. It doesn't transform, but it is extremely posable.
Yeah.
It came with 2 swords, but you have to swap the hands to do the swords. So I did one.
Is that by Bandai?
This is... No, it is by, what is the name of this company? Flame Toys. It is an officially licensed Furai model. I don't know. This is the box. So where's the thing?
Now,
That's
what made you want this model kit in the first place?
It's like the smallest and cheapest of them. And I wanted to try this company's things because they got a big Megazord coming out. And I wanted to know if it was good because I still collect like Megazord. But yeah, it's very, very intricate. There's like layers upon layers of pieces all over the place and just extremely like posability everywhere. Very solid. There's like every so often there would be a couple of parts that would pop off and I just put a little super glue on it to keep it on. But you know, all the posabilities, you know, the wings and everything. You could see the parts where like the cockpit would be if she transformed and stuff. So, so yeah, very cool. And she's one of those characters that is fairly new where you don't really have a good, representation of her as a toy in the sense that like because she's mostly from the comic books. In recent years, she got to be in a couple of TV shows. But she's originally basically from the comic books. She was the first fan vote character.
Oh, awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah. And
is she a pirate?
No, she's like like a Japanese geisha kind of a design.
Oh, I could see that too.
Yeah.
But from back where she looks like she has a very Jack Sparrow-y hat on.
Right. But no, it's more
but
of
now that you explain geisha, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, she's got like the facial little, you know. So anyway, her design in the comics, you know, it's very feminine, and also it doesn't translate well to, because they didn't really care about how well it could turn into a toy, you know.
Sure.
And even though she technically did start as a toy, all of her personality basically comes from the comic books. So, yeah. So you get this nice representation of her as an actual character that looks like pretty much how she looked in the comics.
That's awesome.
Whereas the toys tend to be quite a bit bulkier because they have to have all that extra jet stuff on them and everything. So, so anyway, so that's that. Then I started moving down my backlog of Wild Force, Wild Zord things. The Gao Ranger, I don't know what they're called, Gao Mecha. Everything starts with Gao. That's the Japanese word for roar. Gao. So, this is the Gao Icarus, or the, what do they call it? The Isis Megazord, which is a deer, a giraffe, a rhinoceros. Oh, where's his toes at? Hang on. And an armadillo that lives in his foot. Little tiny armadillo.
That's awesome.
And he's got the whatever those are called. I don't even remember. So this took a while. This gigantic bird guy here was like most of this model kit. I don't even know where I'm going to put this guy down. Oh, there we go. His head was down. So you can see what his head actually looks like. So they all come apart. They all transform. exactly the way they should be. What is she doing sneaking around back there? Oh my gosh. She should be in bed. It's past her bedtime.
She's taking some nighttime gummies right now.
Oh, I love those things.
Go. I love you. Go. Leave the rocks. No, take your rocks. Go. Just drop my stuff. That's fine. Ooh, look at that.
So is the main Wild Force Megazord or Gao? I don't even remember what the Japanese name for all these guys is, but like, you know, they're
I recognize that one. The other one I did not. It's cool looking.
They're fairly well painted, and then the rest is stickers. So there's a lot of stickering going on, which is cool. These guys do some weird things where they sometimes they will paint a thing or they will mold detail into it and then have you put a sticker on top of it. And I think they do that in case you're like, I don't feel like doing stickers at all. Then it's like, well, there's still some detail to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of these things on their shoulders have like molded stuff. And then the benefit of that is like, then you put the sticker on and you press it down over that. And then the sticker gets a little texture. But like on his head here, these black lines with like, it's hard to see, but there's like a white and then a black, which almost gives it like a highlight. That was just a painted black line underneath. And they were like, we want you to put a sticker with a black and white stripe on there. So, but
That's awesome.
And then the last one that I completed doing was the Predazord, which looks like this. And this is the 6th Ranger's 3 Zords combined with the alligator who could still open his head up and he could chomp the bad guys in robot mode, which is fun. So yeah, so he's pretty cool, and he could be in evil or good mode. He can do both. Get yourself a Megazord that can do both.
That's right.
And I didn't finish several of the kits.
Yeah. It's always nice to have something on hand, though.
Yeah, so I did start the Animus, or remember, he's basically like he's a retool of the main guy of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get a Black Lion. He's basically a straight up repaint, and then the bird is more of like a, I don't know, some sort of a tropical bird kind of a thing, instead of the normal.
Cool looking.
Instead of the normal bird. So his head is on the butt. So I didn't finish him. I got to do the 2 arms, which is a different shark and a different tiger, and then I think it's like a buffalo instead of a bison for the legs, but it's functionally the same thing with different horns. Right. And then the gorilla and the bear brothers are the other 2 that I didn't get because I don't know where I put the instructions for them.
Oh, that's rough with a model kit.
I'm really worried about it because that is rough. Because like you could guess how the outside goes, but they all have internal gearing to be able to transform and combine and stuff. And the instructions are really good at being like, do this when you're combining these 3 things. It has to be this, then this, then this. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck and it's going to be hard to get it back apart. So I've been like scouring my office. I know it's in here because I started that kit a while ago and did 1 Zord from it, and then I put everything aside. And I thought the instructions were sitting on my desk right here, and I clearly cleaned up the desk at some point. So I'm hoping I find them. I've been scouring the internet.
I was gonna say maybe the internet. Maybe join a forum.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, kids.
I'm probably gonna have to ask on the Sentai Reddit or something.
Right.
Just being like, anybody get the Gao Muscle SMP kit? I need scans of the instructions. I should
put it out there.
I should just do that during the show.
Yeah, do it now.
So
I'll tell you, I've only ever put together 1 model kit in my adult life, and I really enjoyed it. But it was also much too fast for my liking. Because it was right at I feel like it was the start of the pandemic. I was like, you know what? I wanna do something, get something that's, keep my hands busy, have fun. and it was Bandai. That's why I asked if those were Bandai. Um, Bandai Star Wars. It
Mhm.
was 3PO and R2 kit, and also on top of that, I collect the Black Series and the Figuarts um, Star Wars guys, and none of the 3POs were vacuum metal, but the kit was,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine trying to do it without instructions, because I was just thinking about, like, they give you a silver leg and a gold leg if you want to go traditional or mandala effects, or you've got the chest that has the inhibitor bolt or doesn't, and so you end up Leonardoing it at the end and just be like, I have all these pieces.
Right. These ones, the Ranger ones, are Bandai.
Yeah,
Bandai Japan.
I mean, again, just speaking from the limited experience I had, those are really nice model kits.
I have some of the actual toys, and the Wild Force ones. This was an anniversary season for Sentai, and for Power Rangers too, because it was the 10-year. It was why they did Forever Red.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so for those toys are uncharacteristically high quality. There's a ton of die cast in them. They're really well painted. They're very high quality compared to every other Zord that was around that time. And so I have a lot of those. And these are probably about, I'd say, 30% smaller. Maybe even less. They're probably about maybe closer to half the size.
Okay.
In many cases, they are more posable. Like, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, the wings on the actual toys, which I don't have these guys, but they were always bent like this. So you could go down into like protective mode, or you could open it up and go like this, and it would just be back like that. Whereas this has like all of these different, like, you could do whatever you want with it.
And it looks very sturdy.
It's these. I had to get pliers. I specifically brought pliers with me, because if you put them together incorrectly, chances are you're going to need help getting them apart. And it happened several times where I had to really torque them back apart. But yeah,
awesome.
They're good times. They're very good times. I love these things. Yeah, so like I said, I still have a few more to do. I've been doing these Ranger model kits. I have the Mighty Morphin Zords in this model kit. I've got the In Space ones, the Season 3 ones, the Ninja Zords and the Shogun Zords. And I know they just put up a pre-order for the Season 2 Thunder Megazord. So for a while they were doing Sentai seasons that were pre-Power Rangers, and I wasn't as interested in them. But now they're back to a Ranger season. So I do like these things, because they look really awesome. They take up less space than actual Zords. I'm actually thinking of taking a lot of these guys down and putting the model kits up instead, because they look pretty cool. And they're all basically every robot is the same height for essentially.
Oh, that's cool.
So
very awesome.
Cool. Yeah. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was, I guess, I'm going to change this up a little bit. Let's stay on the toy train here and talk about your NECA Ninja Turtles.
Yes. I can't remember if we talked about it or not, but basically there was an onslaught of NECA Ninja Turtle releases just over the last couple of months. I didn't get anywhere near all of them. They put out a new 4-pack of comic book turtles, but not like the original. Like, I think I want to say that they're after a specific turtle artist that I'm not super familiar with. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. I tell you what it looked like. It looked like the cover of the NES, the first NES game.
Oh yeah, where they're all wearing red masks.
Right, they all have the red mask, but they're like bulkier. Like I have one of the original ones here. These are some of my absolute favorite action figures of all time. This one is very much obviously based on the original artwork. I can never remember which one, if it was Eastman or Laird, did this version. But I love this set. Just I don't know how well it captures on here, but the detail in like the line, you can.
I'll give you the full screen. But
the hash markings and the tiny detail. It's very beautifully done. The
NECA
shell
has really perfected that comic book look.
And I'll tell you what. So these were early. I don't wonder if there's a date on this. This was 2008. 2008 is when these were the first comic book turtles came out.
I'm 2000 and late.
This is obviously Mikey, because you can tell because he's kind of smiling and has his nunchucks.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the only way to tell. And so they came out with 2 new comic book figures, and I thankfully was able to acquire them both. I think they came out with a third. They came out with a foot soldier. I did not get the foot soldier. I think if I find it, I will get it, but these were the more important ones. I got the Shredder.
Oh, he looks a little shredded.
Battle damage Shredder, which is super rad. Like just look at that. It looks like at every angle, it could be a 2-dimensional image.
Mm-hmm.
I love this style. It is. I'm sorry, my dog is whining at me too.
Boy, you're very popular today.
I tell you. So Shredder's amazing. Shredder came with no weapons, which I thought was a little odd.
Because he's been defeated already.
I guess so. He came with a battle damaged gauntlet that you could swap in. He came with a couple of different hands, so he could hold things that he didn't come with. And then this is my favorite. Give me one moment while I fix it for you. Unmasked. Oh, and he's all bloody. And it's so cool and well done. It looks like a freaking drawing.
It's amazing that they not only captured the comic book look, but the specific look of those comics, right?
Right.
It's one thing to just be like, yeah, they're cell shaded or they're comic line. Like the Lightning Collection put out one comic shaded figure like randomly, and it doesn't look like a comic. It doesn't even look like their comic.
You can see, I don't know if this is going to focus well enough. There it goes. Look at his hair. Like there are so many tiny little nubs so that the silhouette is perfect.
His face.
Exactly. So I could not have been happier with this figure. And I mean, comic book Shredder, they put him out once in a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 5-pack. And that was the last time we got a comic book Shredder. And interestingly, right before this came out, I ended up selling mine because I was like, I don't know if I need this anymore, blah blah blah. And I think I sold it for like $200. So, well worth the trade because I think I like this better. I think it's the same sculpt, to be honest with you. But I don't know if this comes through, but they're just tiny little hash marks. Show up.
Yeah.
See that? Oh,
yeah, that's from fighting tiny little rat Splinter.
So,
I guess I don't know.
Well, speaking of that leads me to my second comic book accurate figure.
Tiny little rat Splinter. Oh wait.
Master Splinter, as you can see, Master Splinter is quite in scale. He's very tiny.
Oh, yes, he is.
But to make up for that, he came with a lot of really cool accessories. They do a pretty darn good job of accessorizing the heck out of these characters. So first of all, he came with 2 full characters as far as I'm concerned. A fantastic Mouser.
Mm-hmm.
Again, beautiful. Like the inside of his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Again, little hash marks and scribbles all over it, and well articulated. You got the ankle, the knee, and the hip. Ball joint on the head and the jaw articulates. So just fantastic for a pack-in. You know what I mean? And then we also got another full character in a very comic book accurate Utrom.
Oh, an Utrom.
Yep.
Not a
So,
Krang.
not a
Not the
Krang,
Krang.
but Utrom. Not the Krang.
In
Just
this
a
case,
very
in this
comic
case,
book
yeah.
accurate Utrom, and he's up on all of his little, like, they're, I don't know. He stands on his little tentacle thingies. And so if that wasn't enough,
I don't know. I think that's enough.
also comes with a tiny teapot and teacup for him to
I don't get
have
that reference. Was that a thing?
tea. Yes. And then this is quite possibly my favorite set of accessories. While I'm collecting them all up, it is one canister of ooze.
TCRI.
TCRI.
That's
You can
accurate. Checks out.
see, it's again so well done. So well done with the little drawing of the the ooze spilling out. And of course, that can't be complete without tiny
little rat
Splinter
splinter.
and a handful of baby turtles.
Oh, it's adorable. I was thinking about today about how like the mid '90s were very obsessed with ooze.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. That's. I mean, the '80s had a good amount of it as well, but the mid '90s was a harbinger of ooze, as it were.
I don't remember. They did call it like retro mutagen ooze on the cartoon, if I recall.
Yeah,
but the
pretty positive.
like the secret of the ooze and then Ivan ooze in the
Yeah.
Power Rangers. That was like they were like what, like
The-
2 years apart or something like that.
All the oozes is.
Yeah.
And so so those were I was head over heels for those, but now there are three, technically four, I think, Ninja Turtle lines that are going on through NECA right now. It's a very weird time for Ninja Turtles. Because there's like two other companies that are also doing Ninja Turtle toys. What are they what are the
Playmates?
Playmates. I want to call them Play School. I knew that wasn't right.
Play School Mates?
Playmates is still doing Turtles. They're re-releasing Turtles like constantly. Like the vintage Turtles are coming out. New figures from the vintage line are coming out all the time, and they're just like straight, brand, old packaging and everything. Just like, here you go, have Turtles from 30 years ago.
Mhm.
And then they have the movie line. They have the cartoon line, or the comic book line, and they have the cartoon line. Now the movie line, I think they're getting to the point where they're done. They just San Diego Comic-Con will see the release of the Turtles 3 pack. And then unless they're going to dive into, which maybe they will, but the other cartoon movies, and God forbid they try to touch the Michael Bay movies, I don't think anybody's going to be on board for that. So, but I could have said the same thing about Turtles 3 stuff, and people showed up.
There's apparently people out there who really like that movie.
I hope I don't ever run into one. My sincerest hope, because what they're doing right now is kind of cool. Like I said, with that Shredder, this is they refreshed Shredder. The last time they dropped him was 2008, so it took them a bit.
Yep.
It took them a bit to give us that one. But to circle back before I get too far ahead of myself, my last figure, one of my most sought after characters, because I missed them the first time, and they are, of course, cartoon April O'Neil. Oh man, she looks really awesome. Again, still with all this wonderful line work. Like, look at her hair. You get all this beautiful animated type line work. She's got the accessories on her belt. She came with a ton. I'm not even gonna go through all the stuff that she came with. And she came with an absurd amount of characters, including like just like little character wise. We got like a baby pizza
Oh, the pizza
monster.
monster,
We got I do not remember this episode, but this is obviously a little shop of horrors type
yeah. I remember that one.
plant. This bizarre, possibly gopher idol that
I remember the
sure
idol.
has,
Yeah,
you
boy,
know,
I got to go back and watch the show.
a
I remember all these little things, but I don't remember the
potted
plots
plant.
around them. I don't remember the potted plant being a villain.
One of my favorite. I don't know why I love these because I don't actually ever display the figures with them, but Turtle Com,
Oh, nice.
and it opens.
It opens?
Yep, it's her little turtle compact. So it's, you can see the very detailed inner workings of it. The turtles have their bigger ones, you know, and the bad guys came with their little pink, like more handheld ergonomic ones.
Yeah.
So she came with a shtick ton of hands, all sorts of different hands. And then so the weird thing is the April that came out before this had a massive head. Like it was just gargantuan, and it was so bizarre. This one's been getting a little flack. Mine seems to be okay. I think most of them are okay. People are just picky, but her neck seemed a little long. You know,
on this one?
No, I don't think it's really on this one. I'll be
Okay,
honest.
yeah, I was gonna say because that one doesn't look. It looks fine to me.
But some people were saying they took her out of the package and just like pushed her head down and it snapped and like the head wasn't in all the way or something.
Okay.
But I don't know. She did come though with two alternate heads. One that is slightly more serious than the original. The other, she's kind of smiling, I guess.
You
know, but not a huge difference. And then this one I feel like is just a little more, I don't know, odd that they would include it, but kidnapped April.
Did that? I know that's like a trope, but did that happen often enough that we really needed the accessory?
Well, it happened often enough to also include some mechanical bindings. So you can have your April in full kidnap mode. Although, I mean, it happened often enough to the poor girl, I think. I got to be careful because I hear that one of the other problems is that her collarbone area is not always glued on very well, and so the whole neck can pop right off.
Wow. She's a real NECA turtle, huh? I gotta workshop that one a little bit better, I think.
A little bit. But let's see if we can get her. The picture that pops up online when people talk about this mostly is I don't know if I want to say problematic, but it's it's an awkward one for sure. It's like it was like tied up and blindfolded and being tickled by a mobster, like with a feather. It's just very, very awkward.
Yeah.
But you know, so there she is, all locked up. I mean, it's a very well made, pretty ingeniously put together.
It sure looks like it would hold her, yeah.
Like it just like it doesn't, like you can't really tell where it comes apart even, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they do a pretty good job here. I'll show you. See, like the pipe like is connected. See that? That's pretty good.
Yeah, you'd never know. It's got enough little segments to it you couldn't tell.
I cannot imagine what one would be doing having her displayed in this. So why it comes with it,
Yep.
one of those things. I won't be using mine. Let's just put it that way. I like happy April. Happy not tied up April. So you saw I had her, she had her camera and microphone, but she also had more antiquated
Audio recording equipment.
audio recording equipment, which is pretty rad. All of the microphones do have the Channel 6 logo on them. And then she also came with the hare and the tortoise. With the tortoise winning the #1 trophy.
I don't remember that from the show.
I don't remember that either, but it's there, and I'm not unhappy about it. So I mean, all in all, this was the best run of Turtles figures I've had in a long time. So very, very happy with them. Like I said, I hear the foot soldier is pretty darn cool. He comes with a lot of accessories, including ones that seem to be pretty clearly for Shredder.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a couple of swords that don't even match the color scheme of the rest of the toy, but match Shredder's color scheme better. So I probably should pick him up.
I saw the foot soldiers at a Target. No, at a Walmart.
Yeah.
I think it was at a Walmart. Yeah.
I was going to say Target is where these things are. I don't know that Walmart
I've seen
was
lots of them. I've seen lots of these figures at Target, but I saw the foot soldiers at a Walmart. Maybe it was a Target. We didn't go to. I thought it was on vacation. There were no Targets around us, but there was a Walmart. If we were willing to drive, there was a Walmart.
After a bit, I'm sure it was easy to get yourself to drive.
Are you
for a bit?
Is there more NECA turtles, or is that it?
That is it for my current NECA turtle talk. Thank you for coming to my turtle talk. Like I said, there's more on the horizon. I know. I think I shared with us a few months ago when I got the Casey Jones from the comic line. So my comic line is really fleshing out. I had just the turtles for a real long time.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be getting a new April. Again, the last April dropped in 2008. And then they've got a weird line coming out of like I don't know what they want to call it, just like imaginary or what if a line, basically like we're getting space Usagi Yojimbo.
That's not a what if. That was an original toy.
But it's comic book accurate space. Animated accurate space Usagi, because he was supposed to have a spin-off show from the Turtles where he would be in space that never actually materialized apparently, but that's what it's based on.
I can't imagine why.
But Bucky O'Hare is why.
Oh. Okay.
Which oddly enough, this is just an offshoot. I picked this up at Ollie's the other day for $5.
Nice.
Well worth it. I'd like to get the rest of the line, but this is all they only had the one.
Since it's been so long since we've done an episode, I completely forgot about this one thing that happened to me. You were there. I wanted to relay a story.
I love when I'm there.
Before I left for vacation, you and I went over to the Crown Point Collectibles.
Yes.
So that we could sell a whole ton of stuff.
For not nearly as much money as I was hoping.
Not a lot of money. But there are very few things that when I go there, like I'm looking for very specific things. And there are very few things that they tend to have that I'm looking for. And one of those things is an MP44 Masterpiece Optimus Prime. Because they were very expensive. They were like $400 when they were new. Now they go for like $800 on the aftermarket. And also, side note, a photo was leaked. Apparently they're going to reissue that toy in toy colors soon. So I might have a second chance at toy colors. But As I'm walking around through the thing, and I'm just kind of looking, they got a display case of all the Transformers and stuff, the loose ones, and I look way in the back. I kind of see what appears to be a cartoon-looking Optimus Prime figure. And I asked the guy, is that Masterpiece Optimus, or is that one of the knockoffs, like one of the third parties? Because there were a whole bunch of third parties trying to mimic it. And he said, that's the official one. It's not complete. So it's only, I don't even remember how much I paid for it. 100, 200, I don't remember. Do you remember?
I want to say it was
It's like 120 or something.
I think it was 140. I'm almost positive it was 140.
That sounds about right.
Because I was trying to get you to bundle it with something else that I wanted for 200.
That's right. That's right. But anyway, he's like, he pulls it out and he hands it to me, and he's like, it doesn't have its trailer, it doesn't have roller, but it's got these accessories. And I'm looking at it, and it's got like this battle damage on it and stuff. And I was like, oh no, it's they swapped in the battle damage parts, and I don't see the non-battle damage parts anywhere in here, and I don't really want it to always be battle damage. So I was like, I'm going to pass this time. It's not complete and everything. So we leave, we drive away, and I'm on my phone, and I'm looking up, like, what are the pieces? Like, can I go on eBay and get the non-battle damaged piece, like just that piece? And I've come to find out the battle damage actually just snaps onto him, and you just take it off, and he's perfectly fine. So I had Pat slam on the brakes,
spin a UE,
burning out, heading back. And I go, as soon as I walk in the door, the guy's like, he looks at me and he goes, couldn't pass up that Optimus Prime, huh? And I said, no, you're exactly right, because I just realized what's up with it, and I'm going to buy it. And so I got it. And it's loose, of course, and this is it here. It looks awesome.
It's a beautiful figure.
He came with a rifle. The stuff is in the accessory bin over there, but he came with a rifle. He came with his energy axe thing. Battle damage. He came with a decent amount of stuff. He's very heavy and everything too, because there's a good bit of die-cast in him, especially in the legs. He takes forever to transform. You can kind of maybe tell from like looking at the back and stuff that he's very, very panely, and he's basically inside out from truck mode. So anyway, we're in the car, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, this guy's really nice. I was told that he was completely slathered, was the word everybody used, in paint to make him shiny and everything. And this guy's got hardly any paint on him at all. Like, he's got paint on him, but like, I think like this is all molded white, this is all molded red, this is all molded blue. It's like there's like some paint on him all over the place, and he looks really good.
Appropriate amounts of paint, but not slathered.
Right. It's not completely paint, because I've got other Masterpiece figures that are literally painted head to toe, and the paint chips off and everything. And I was like, I really don't want to spend like $400 on a thing, and then the paint starts chipping off and everything. So I'm like, huh. So I guess I misunderstood, or I was lied to, or whatever. So I go home, and
in a way,
I don't have he didn't come with instructions, right? So I go
left in his trailer.
Exactly. So I go on the internet, and I look up my usual people who transform, like they do reviews, and then they always do a transformation. And in the review, I'm looking at it, and they're like, yeah, he's covered in paint and everything. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, the thing that guy is holding is definitely covered in paint. And then this was MGO, was who I was looking at, in case you are a fan or whatever. I like his goofy reviews. He actually happened to have another video review of the Masterpiece Optimus Prime knockoff. And I go and I watch that video, and it's this. And when I was searching on eBay for the parts, I kept seeing like Masterpiece Optimus in a tray with literally the exact accessories that mine came with. And no trailer or anything. And I was just like, oh, that's weird. They don't have the box. They don't have the trailer. They're just selling like one of the inner trays of the Masterpiece. I hadn't put two and two together yet until I saw this video. And then he did a comparison with the two of them. And then what I come to find out is there's actually like 4 versions of the knockoff. There's one where they took off the Autobot symbol, probably to avoid getting sued, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Lessen
It's like
the chances.
This is like a 1-to-1 recreation of this intellectual property, but they're like, but that's a registered trademark, so we got to take that off. the final version that he was actually reviewing had no chrome. It was painted silver and looked not as good. And so what I come to find out is there's like 4 versions of these. And the little yellow things here, which you can see they are actually yellow, are not yellow on the Masterpiece toy, on the official.
Really? So they fixed something.
So I very quickly came to the conclusion that I got the best version of this thing. There's no paint to chip off. There's no, like, the colors look better. It's the best version of the knockoff. And it was significantly cheaper. So even if I break it trying to do all the goofy everything you got to do to transform this guy, I'm probably going to break it right now trying to do stuff. But, he does have his matrix in there and everything. It's in here somewhere.
I tell you what I really do like is the windows on his chest. They're a very good color blue.
They are, aren't they? And you can still see them because when he goes to truck mode, that's then you turn it upside down or whatever. Like that's the truck ones. And you flip the whole thing around. The only thing I'm a little bit disappointed in is that the official one has a speaker thing on the back. The button is still here, but there's no electronics in it. Like you could obviously see where the speaker was.
Right.
The official one has voice clips from, even though it's a Japanese only release, Hasbro has not released this figure. It had clips from newly recorded clips from the Japanese voice actor for Convoy and with Peter Cullen. And you would just cycle through them and you would get like Japanese things and then, Peter Cullen saying stuff. So I think that's really kind of the only downside. But overall, I just wanted to say that I'm really happy with this. He did come with the season 1 head. This is the season 2 head. He did come with the season 1 head and the weird Starscream head and vents from that literal like 3 frames of animation when that happened. He's talking about accessories.
Did he have a death head too, or a
yes, there was
damage head too?
I was saying like the battle damage. So the battle damage, he has like a busted up head, and then a clip-on piece of damage from when Megatron threw a stick of wood through him or something. I don't even know what that was in the movie. He throws a thing and it gets him.
Right.
So it goes really well with there's battle damage for the Masterpiece Megatron as well. And you can put them next to each other and, I don't know.
Pretend like they fought each other a second ago.
But he is extremely posable as well. Like his arm can do that. His leg can do that. Like it's.
I'm 50.
Yeah, and he can do that one pose where he dunks a basketball.
But does he come with the basketball?
He doesn't come with the basketball. This is a knockoff company. Yeah, exactly. They're not Super 7. All right.
The Super 7 one costs twice that amount.
It actually does. No, I actually don't think it does, but it's close.
Right, it is close. Not as good, and doesn't transform.
No,
that's the other thing.
And I actually think doesn't look as good. Oh, hold on, I broke his crotch. I fixed it. Does not look as good in robot mode as this guy does. I mean, look at how heroic we look right here.
I think that is possibly the best Optimus Prime I've ever seen.
I know, right?
I have MP1.
Exactly. We drooled over MP1, and now look where we are.
Yeah. I told Brian this when we discovered his was a knockoff. When we discovered that the battle damage piece was just removable. The reason I have MP1 is because somebody on eBay listed it as can't find the fists. I was like, Brian, I checked with Brian before I bought it. I was like, Brian, where are Optimus fists when he transforms? He's like, they just fold in. Yeah. He's like, they don't come off. And he's like, no, they don't come off. It's like, great. Hold on a second. And I bought it for I think I got it for like $30 or $40 at the time.
That's ridiculous.
And it was insanely cheap.
This is a approximation because this is not the same Optimus figure, but oh no, I've lost his fists. Where could his fists be? Yeah.
Well, they had the energy weapons attached or weapon. I think they only had one. And the other one was just like nothing. And he's like, sorry, I lost the fists. I was like, don't worry, I'll take them. I'll take care of this poor little lost broken Optimus.
Yes,
Whoop, whoop.
we
Yay!
haven't had the lost fist issue with an Optimus since the very first G1.
Yeah.
So
that's the beauty. That's the beauty. People just assumed that the fists were lost. Well, lost another set of Optimus fists. Ah, the toy gods were smiling on me that day.
He looks good with like the various other like cartoon styled like masterpiece figures and stuff. You can see how the official ones are quite a bit more shiny.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't like putting them side by side. I would never be like, what's wrong with that? Oh shit! I just thought I forgot about something. Can we add a topic right now? It'll be a quick one.
Yes. Yeah, we're doing that. That's how we're rolling.
This is what we're doing. So I went to the store to buy some pants the other day.
Oh, this is gonna be a good topic. I can tell.
It's so random. It's so random. So I get to the checkout counter. I get rung up, and I reach for my wallet, and I go to pay the gentleman, and I've shown my wallet before, I believe, but my wallet is Marvel 1990 card themed wallet. Okay. Now I've had this wallet for months and months now. Now, again, Brian, you were never huge into the Marvel cards, right?
Correct.
So I doubt that you would see what I didn't see, what the guy who rang me up instantly saw. It's so weird. So I'll give you just a second, and you guys can play along at home. Anything?
Hold on, let me give you the full screen so I could see this whole thing here.
Is there anything wrong with anything you see here? Like I am shocked that this guy picked up on this instantly, given that I'm a massive fan of these cards. I have the whole collection, all the holograms.
Hold it back up.
You know, like I really I'm more mad at myself, but also just plain shocked that this guy saw my wallet for 30 seconds was like, oh, that's not true.
I am not seeing it, so you're gonna have to tell me.
No. This card right here,
Spider-Man?
Black Widow.
Oh, Black Widow.
Doesn't exist.
Really?
Yep. Near as I can tell now, because I have a shave kit bag that has the same pattern. Has the Black Widow card on there. Near as I can tell, all of these characters are popular MCU characters now. You got your Black Panther, your Spider-Man, your Captain America, your Hulk, your Thor. No Iron Man, oddly enough, which I'm 99% certain, because now I'm at a loss. I'm only 99% sure Iron Man had a card in the first wave of cards. But there was no female character that is relevant to today's audience. And so they arbitrarily had them come up with a card. Now this image was never on any Marvel card. There was, interestingly enough, they a couple of years ago, they've been releasing Marvel cards almost ever since the 90s. A couple of years ago, there were like chase cards that were done in the style of this set, and there was a Black Widow, but not at all in this art style. And then what's more is I looked it up, and like the only thing I could find any reference to at all was on Walmart was selling a poster of the card. And then interestingly, it had the back of the card, like in the lower, like left or right hand corner, like just like flipped over, so you could kind of see the back of the card. And it just arbitrarily gave her a number, which is actually Longshot's number in the actual set. So weird. But it just blows my mind that they went to this extent to do a nostalgia grab on such a specific weird hit of 1990s Marvel trading cards, and then go, but
Gotta have a Black Widow.
we should probably put Black Widow on there, right?
That's super weird.
And you know what else though? The thing that I think bothers me the most is that it's a good looking card.
Right, like
I kind
that
of
should
want
have
it.
existed. Yeah.
It should have. It absolutely should have existed. And I honestly think I'm probably going to print one out and shove it in the back of my binder. But it's just such a weird. And I looked at all my boards and everything to see, because I'm on several Marvel trading card boards. Nobody's mentioned this. I mean, obviously, this is a very, very niche thing. How many of these wallets and shave kits could really exist? I had to really hunt for this wallet. I went to, for whatever reason, the only place that anybody ever reported seeing these was at Ross. So at the whoops, we didn't sell it before place.
Mhm.
Was the only place anybody ever found these.
Yeah, dress for less.
And I had to resort to eBay. I searched for it constantly on the internet, because like, what do you search for? Trading card wallet, which brings me to a lot of, you can carry your trading cards
in your
around
wallet,
in a wallet.
Right. If you don't have pictures of kids, you can put your trading cards in there.
Exactly. They are your children. But yeah, just so weird, isn't it? Like, it would be like somebody was like, there wasn't enough female representation in Transformers, so we just went ahead and inserted several into the original stuff and re-released it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it's like such a mind fuck to do. And like I said, I've been carrying this thing around and never once did I question.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's Black Widow. And I mean, like looking at that, I vividly remember all of the other cards, and I probably was just like, I guess I didn't have that one as a kid. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I had all the other ones as a kid. I didn't have that one. Like I said, I was very obsessive. About 5 years ago, I started and collected all of the Marvel cards that came out when we were kids. But yeah, not this one, because it didn't exist. So anyway, I wanted to share that with with y'all.
That, yeah. It's so weird that a random cashier would see it and immediately go.
He was just like, oh my God, it's so random. I just found those cards like the other day, and I put together my collection. So it was like fresh in his mind. Like he had just, like, he found all of his cards from his youth, and for the first time put them all in order in a binder and everything. So it was fresh in his mind. But still, like, what are the chances?
Yeah, so even that, yeah. It's
so random. So I feel like I have to get the word out now.
Yeah.
It's the angels of sport.
You heard it here first.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
What time we got? Okay, cool. We got plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
I'm going to switch to our next topic, which is the return of Futurama on the Hulu channel. It's season 11. It's back again for the fourth time.
Fourth, I think.
Yeah.
Third or fifth. No,
this year this time they are making fun of Hulu because they're on Hulu. That's interesting though, because last time they were brought back on Comedy Central, and in their first episode they made fun of Fox, where they had been canceled from the Box Network because they're a delivery company, and they got their boxes from the Box Network, and then they got anyway. But
and there are many fans.
Yes, and there are many fans. Monthly Office Space, and then it has like the Twitter price, not Twitter, the Hulu pricing up here.
Yep.
It's
with commercials.
But anyway, this they are back. I'm not going to let this trailer play, but it's the same voice actors. We knew they were coming back. I remember a while ago we were talking about whether or not they were going to get John DiMaggio back, and
because they insulted him with a low offer.
Yeah, they got everybody back. They've got that. They're going to have that thing from when Hulu brought back Animaniacs the first time, where there's such a lead time in production of like the first season that the jokes are a little bit stale. So they're doing a COVID episode. They're doing I think what Animaniacs had like a bunch of Trump jokes, like Biden had already been elected.
A huge amount of Trump jokes, but he was no longer in office already.
Yeah, but so there's going to be that. There's some. I liked this joke about the You take the Q-tip and just shove it up your nose. Yeah. Sham this Q-tip up your nose. I don't think that's what he actually says, but that's what the things come up with. Anyway, there's going to be one where they go to crypto country, which thankfully is still relevant. Crypto is still a thing. I mean, not thankfully, crypto is still a thing because it could go away and I would not care. But I do like that. That's like a Wild West episode. So anyway,
right.
They're back. New episodes.
It would appear as though nothing has changed, and that's exactly what I would hope for.
Yep.
So
it sounds like they're going to do.
That's a great still.
Yep. From the people who brought you Futurama. They are going to. I don't know where here we go. They're going to pick up from the last episode that they did last time, and once again explain how they survived. Because every time they end and they're actually able to, like, they know they're about to get canceled, they do a big open-ended, like, we're going off into the great unknown. You know, who knows what'll happen next, and then they're gone. And then, like, the last time this happened, they're just like, they just popped back out, and they're like, oh yeah, so we went through the wormhole, and we just ended up back here. So
right.
The last time, if I recall, in the last episode, that was the one where Fry broke time, and he and Leela were stuck in frozen.
Yeah,
he was stuck in the loop.
They lived an entire lifetime while the world was frozen, and then they went back to do it again.
Yep.
So, was that the very last one?
Or
was that the last one?
Was the I thought that was the last one, but I remember this Time Machine one is not the same episode. This Time Machine one this is the one where they break it and they overshoot, where they're like, they go into the past, but then they overshoot and they can't go back. So they have to go forward until the entire universe dies and then restarts again. And then they end up where they were. And I think they overshoot again and they actually end up going a whole nother, like, trillions of years around. Because it's all a cycle apparently, and they just end up back again. That's a different one. I could look up Futurama episodes. Let's look up Futurama episodes. And for some reason, I put it popped out into a different tab. So let me put that back in there. List of Futurama episodes in blinding white. See, their season markings are really weird. Like, they list 8 seasons here. This is, of course, the season 11 trailer. I think I agree with the season 11. Yeah, season 8 is on. It says season 8 is on Hulu. I don't think that's 6 and 7. Oh, you know why? Because I think we were counting these 13s as separate seasons originally, because then it would be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't know, 10, 11. I don't know. The movies are technically counted as a season as well, when they had those 4 movies that came out right before the last time they were canceled.
That was the worst part. I didn't like that. Yeah,
those movies, they had good,
I mean, they're not bad, but they just aren't as good as they should have been.
They had good parts to them, but they were too long. Was the problem.
Exactly. The stories need to work. Even when they have overarching stories, they need to be in bite-sized chunks.
Yeah.
So
seasons 1 through 4 were the original ones on Fox. Season 5 is the movies. Bender's Game, I think, is my favorite. That's the Dungeons and Dragons one.
Yeah.
Into the Wild Green Yonder was weird. That's the one where at the end of that one, they go off into like a black hole and then end up just back here with Rebirth. And then
wasn't Rebirth where they all died and then they got recloned? Was that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Reincarnation. Oh, Reincarnation. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, yeah,
that's an awesome one where they do all the different parodies. It's like an anthology one.
Mm-hmm.
Then season 7 ends with Meanwhile. Is that the... Uh, okay, no, that's just there. Yeah, that's the one where they live their whole lives together.
Okay.
So that's where that one ends.
So honestly, I don't know, because season 8, there was a season in the later times that I don't know that I actually even saw all of.
I'm trying to figure out which one was the one where they go through all of the time over and over.
Well, go. Maybe it's in the later parts. Go back down.
Well, this is the Hulu ones.
Oh, that is the Hulu ones. Okay.
Yeah. The Impossible Stream, Children of a Lesser Bog, How the West Was 10100001. Parasites Regained. That's those parasites that Fry gets. Related to items you viewed. That's probably the episode where you get the Alexa Siri thing. I Know What You Did Next Xmas. That'll be interesting. Rage Against the Vaccine. That's that one. Zap Gets Canceled. Oh, good. We're using the word canceled. That's good. The Prince and the Product. And then all the way down. Interesting. Yeah, so this is the season numbering from the DVDs, which seem to differ from the way seasons work when they actually were putting it on the TV show. But I swear that time travel one was a season 7 one.
I believe you, but my Tommy gun don't.
Free Will Hunting, Near Death Wish. That's one where the professor reunites with his parents, who are at the really old folks' home. 31st Century Fox is the one where Patrick Stewart hunts them for sport. Let's see.
Such a good show. I'm glad it's back.
It's a gang of street racing punks. In a reverse parody of E.T., Fry gets left behind on Omicron Persei 8 after the Planet Express crew sneaks onto the planet together. Marijuana-esque herb needed for the professor's tea. Fry and Leela end up in an intergalactic zoo. Planet Express crew become firefighters. The Inhuman Torch. Saturday Morning Fun Pit. That's the Saturday Morning Fun Pit episode. If you haven't seen that one, that is fantastic because Nixon decides that they need wholesome Saturday morning cartoons, and he has them live edit the if it's like G.I. Joe, they would have to edit the bullets out in real time and replace them with lasers and stuff. Saturday Morning Fun Pit is a good one. You should watch out. Assy Come Home. Bender searches the universe for his missing butt, essentially. Leela undergoes squidification. The Planet Express crew enter Fry's dreams. Crew gets trapped aboard Planet Express ship with horrific alien creature. That one's pretty funny. Murder on the Planet Express. Zoidberg falls for a flower vendor who has no sense of smell. That's a cute one. That's a really cute one. Okay, maybe it was not. Maybe it was a season 6 episode. Okay, it wasn't one of the really old ones, right? No, it wouldn't.
I don't think
it couldn't be.
I don't know.
It couldn't be. I clicked on the wrong one. That's the movies. Oh my God, these are long. The Vagina, that's like V'ger, but it's the Vagina. Comes to censor everybody. Attack of the Killer App. Guest starring Craig Ferguson as Susan Boyle. Kiff breaks up with Amy. Da Vinci Code. Lethal and Spender learns he's never gone up here. The Late Philip J. Fry. This is the one. The Late Philip J. Fry, because he's extremely late. He arrives late for lunch with Leela on her birthday and promises to make it up to her, taking her to the cavern on the green. But before he can go, Farnsworth forces him and Bender to try out the time machine by sending it forward in time by 1 minute. So Fry decides to make a birthday video recording card apologizing to Leela for being late. Unfortunately, he accidentally sets the machine to send them to the year 10,000 AD, and the card is lost in the time vortex. Because their time machine can only go forward, Fry, Bender, and Farnsworth continuing traveling through time, hoping that someone will eventually invent a backwards time machine. That's why they keep going forward. Meanwhile, Leela assumes Fry stood her up. Eventually, the card reappears after she's like old. In the year 3050, the card finally reappears and she realizes that Fry took the time machine and is gone. So she leaves a message. This is actually really fun. She leaves a message. She shoots the ceiling so that the stalagmites will drip. The stalactites will drip and create stalagmites. So that
I remember this.
Millions of years in the future, he can read the message from her in the year 1 billion. Anyway, so that's this time machine. So I don't know what they're doing there. Maybe they went around
Maybe
again.
They just use it, yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, there's a nice frame. Yeah, so we're going to get everybody back. Looks like there might be a Dune. I don't know if that's Dune or something.
Looks like a Dune worm.
How you doing? I like the burrow joke is pretty good because he's telling it burrow, and that's just the Spanish word for donkey. There is a scene where they are. Oh, this I enjoyed this. You see this very briefly. I hope we don't get demonetized for this. That it very briefly says Hulu Rama before the things come around. But there's a shot in here where the Borax Kid is back. It's on the Western planet, and there it is. They're having like a weird shootout, and the Borax Kid is back. He's made of borax. Anyway, that's it. Futurama. It's coming back. When? I don't remember.
Soon.
It says at the end here. I think. Oops. I thought it said. Maybe it says down in the description. July 24th. So like 2 weeks.
Nice.
All right. The last-ish topic, and we have a half hour for this. Spoiler-free, quick review of some movies that we watched recently. So, Pat, you saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Tell me, how was it?
I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I reserve judgment, complete judgment, until I have the time to see it at home. You know, that kind of a thing. But in the theater, I had a damn good time. I spent 90% of the movie smiling and 10% of the movie crying, making for 100% of a movie. It was fun. Harrison Ford can still move. Like he was doing. Now I think we all know that he wasn't doing all of his own stunts and stuff. But everything, it's not a secret that they use some de-aging technology for a portion of the film.
The face part.
The face part. So I would say, again, without being spoilered. Anyway, the first 15 minutes or so takes place in the past. And for my money, it was very good. I think that there's one or two moments where it's usually where you can see where they were like, well, we can get away with that. Like it's a little bit further away and he's like running away and the face maybe jostles a little awkwardly where you're just like, but
a little jello.
For the most part, yeah, it's just a little interesting, For the most part, though, it's pretty damn seamless. I heard him in an interview say, he did all the vocal work and I don't know how much of the actual acting he did. I assume they put a younger gentleman there and then put his face on top of it. But
yeah, probably.
he the register is interesting because he's definitely raising his voice up to sound like a younger version of himself, but it's like it sounds a little deeper than it should, little more gravelly maybe than it should, but also I would say that this adventure, I don't know, I have never gotten to sit down and plot out the timeline. I can barely keep track of my own life's timeline,
Yeah.
let alone fictional characters. But I would assume that this adventure happened after the last time we hung. Well, probably in between Crystal Skull and like Raider or Last Crusade. So somewhere in there. So his voice could have been more aged at that point. It's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a really good job of making the rounds with callbacks to all the other movies without, like, there's one that I won't obviously spoil for you, but there's one of the callbacks is very, like, we weren't sure how to bring this up, so he just does. And some of them are much more subtle and kind of sweet. They introduce some new characters. They bring back some old characters.
John Rice Davies is there.
John Rice Davies is there. That is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
Does he tell him? Did they keep the line from the trailer?
Yes, they do.
Give him hell, Indiana Jones.
Give him hell, Indiana Jones. But I mean, he's also age appropriate ish. Like, for the fact that the man can actually still do a hell of a lot. Because he's 82, 81, somewhere in there.
Sure.
I know he's about Patrick Stewart's age, because I'm always blown away by that, because he looks much younger still than Patrick Stewart does.
Yeah.
And they're only, like, I think Patrick Stewart is maybe like 2 years older than him or something.
Patrick Stewart, be prepared for Harrison Ford, because Patrick Stewart got old, like, very fast.
That's true.
He was like
Professor X, Professor X, Professor X,
yeah.
Picard.
Right. It's like Picard, in the way he looked in, like, Star Trek Nemesis, is how Patrick Stewart looked until, like, 2015.
Right.
Basically.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think that's the funny thing, is that we do get these wonderful stretches with our actors. We're like, yeah, they look the same for like 10 years, and then all of a sudden there's like a drop.
Yeah. God, can you imagine
like,
what's going to happen to Paul Rudd?
Oh my God. I assume that one day he will just be Dick Van Dyke.
Yes. Yeah. He's going to have
like,
white.
It'll just be like Paul Rudd, Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing that happened to Jack Black. I don't know if you've seen Jack Black lately, but he's got like a big white beard and white hair and everything. I assume that's what's going to happen to Paul Rudd, is we're just going to one day see him and it's going to be like,
yeah.
What are you, like 60?
A steady decline, because he's got to be like 50 at least.
He is, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like he's gonna be 60 before we know it, and we're all gonna know.
We're all gonna know he's 60. Because I'm gonna look it up right now.
How old is George Clooney? Because I feel like that guy, like that guy was like
he hit a not
what
aging.
He looked like in Roseanne, then ER, and it never changed.
Paul Rudd is 54. Did you know you can actually, on Amazon, you can actually buy his book from the book that he's
I heard
in Quantumania?
That's hilarious.
Okay, well, who is it? George Clooney.
George Clooney, how old is he?
George Strait is who they thought I was going to... You know how you type a name in Google and then it tries to guess who you're going to search for? Right. It guessed George Strait, which was wrong. George Strait is... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. George Clooney is 62.
62.
Yep.
So anyway, the people who do it right, I mean, like Steve Martin has looked the same forever because his hair went white when he was young.
Right. His hair went white when he was like 20.
The only thing that you can tell now is his eyebrows match his hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it all depends on how these people play it.
Steve Martin is 77.
Funny guy. I love that guy.
Patrick Stewart. I'm just going to look up
look up Patrick Stewart. Look up Harrison Ford. All their ages.
Stewart.
We want to know. But anyway, back while Brian's doing that,
Patrick Stewart is 82.
82. So 82. That I think that would make Harrison Ford either 80 or 81.
80. He was born 2 years later.
It was a good couple of years for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so to touch base back to Indiana Jones, um, I will say this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll save this for a spoiler-filled review at some time in the future. They did something in this movie that I never, ever, ever thought was possible. And that's where I'm going to leave that. But yeah, I was blown away with what this movie made me feel about something, and I was just it's still blowing. I'm gonna tell Brian later because he doesn't care.
Did this movie make you like Crystal Skull?
I wouldn't say like Crystal. I never hated Crystal Skull, but I've never liked it, and I never will. It's just not here. And I will tell you again, like the MacGuffin of this movie, the Dial of Destiny. It I still feel like it was a little far fetched for Indiana Jones, and that's the problem. That so Indy's movies. Now I'm going to say spoiler things about the rest of the Indiana Jones series, and you're just going to have to deal with that, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Indy's movies, I think, are always best when you can relate to them, and that the fact that I grew up Catholic made me obviously I knew what the Holy Grail was, and I knew what the Ark of the Covenant was,
Yeah.
and so you have those touchstones to be like, I understand, you know.
They ran out of Crusade era artifacts, basically.
Well, yeah, to
And
a
then,
point.
then they were like
But,
aliens and time travel and
well, and that's the thing. So like even back in the day when they did Temple of Doom, it was this, it was Kali, the blood of Kali, and these magical stones, and I always felt like even as a kid, I wasn't as vested in that story. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't as real to me because it wasn't something that I was familiar with.
Mhm.
Now I don't think that that's a bad thing either, though. Like I actually sat down and watched through the movies again before I saw this one, and I found myself really enjoying Temple of Doom. It's a very fun adventure. The thing that I really didn't like in that movie was what's her name, Spielberg's wife. Like I think she's not a very good actress, and she was a pill like the whole movie. Like that's her character,
Mhm.
but it's like that's not fun. Like
Yeah.
it was entertaining for a little while. Like in today's movies, the actress would start that way, and within like the first act she would get her get her shit kicked out of her, and she'd become an adventurer, and then by the end of the movie she'd be ready to go off an adventure. And I actually give him kind of credit that they didn't do that in that movie, to where she was just a pain in the ass from the get-go to the very last shot. She's like, nope, I I am gone.
She knew exactly what role she was there to play in that movie,
Right,
and
right.
she played it.
And so there were just, but I mean, like, so like I love Short Round. I think Short Round is one of my favorite characters in the Indiana Jones franchise, and he's in one of my least favorite Indiana Jones movies. So there's always parts of these things that are good. Harrison Ford is never not good as Indiana Jones, but like with Crystal Skull, you surround him with just like he always has plausible deniability. You know what I mean? The original Raiders of the Lost Ark, he had his eyes closed. That
Yeah.
that when the crazy shit was happening, he's like, "You shut your damn eyes, Marion. You shut them, and you do not open them." And so like they touch on that a little bit in this movie. It's in one of the trailers, so I don't mind saying the line. But he says something to the effect of, I don't believe in magic, but I've seen and done some things that I can't explain. And and then the line after that I felt like was a little weird, a little nonsensical, because he says like it's not what you believe, it's how hard you believe in them. I was like, no, it's about what you believe, but whatever. That's the personal belief structure, I guess. But they do a good job of leading you in a direction that, like, these are adventure movies. You know, you are on an adventure. You feel like you're on an adventure. Fun things happen. Funny things happen. You know, stressful points happen. My daughter was on the edge of her seat at many points where I had to physically like pull her back into her seat because she was so like getting wrapped up into the movie. And it was a lot of fun, and it was a nice, like, Crystal Skull left a bad taste in my mouth, and I didn't want to remember one of my favorite characters that way.
Hmm.
This movie did it right. If he never comes back, which is the plan right now, he's allegedly completely done. And I mean, let's be honest, unless they were to fast track another one, I don't know that he'd make it to another one. The the rumors are that they were trying to kind of set up the female lead. Oh, I can't remember her name. Phoebe Waller Bridge, something like that. Does this sound familiar?
Nope.
She was a droid in the Han Solo movie.
Oh, okay.
And she did Fleabag. Those are like her big things.
I didn't see that.
She was really good. She was really good in there. Would I see a movie that just starred her? Probably. I mean, in this, like, this character, probably not. Was she a fun side character to have along? Yeah, totally. You know, and he's back. You know, again, not spoiler. He's back fighting Nazis, which is, you know, as he should be.
Yeah.
Would there have been a more fan servicey way to end the franchise? Yes, absolutely. But would it have been as fun and satisfying all on its own? I don't think so. I think this was a really good choice. And the other thing is that it's a solid, like, look at aging. You know, like, it's a realistic look at, like, hey, and it's something that we all go through. You know, a lot of us at our age are starting to realize our mortalities. You know, we're hitting those midlife crises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm planning one soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be
the
great.
beard is not it.
No, not at all. But it's it just, I don't know, it maybe helps you along with that. It maybe helps you come to terms with some things, you know, if you're looking for that sort of thing. So, and I think that they know their audience too. You know, they understand that, like, we're on the young end of the Indiana Jones spectrum. You know,
Yeah.
there's not many people younger than us that really grew up with this stuff at all. And so this is farewell to a character that, and again, I mean, how often do you really get an actual farewell?
Yeah.
Like,
it's farewell to a character that you thought you had already said farewell to.
Right. And not left on the best of terms.
Yeah. Right.
So it was nice. It was very nice. I like I said, for the another part of this is that when we got our tickets, we went on the morning of the 4th of July, and we thought that we were so smart. Nobody's going to be out on the morning of the 4th of July.
They're all off of work.
I bought the tickets the night before, and the only 3 seats that were still together were in the second row. Now this is in one of the very big theaters. It's got the fancy reclining seats, but it did not help. Like, I still spent the entire movie like this,
just up in awe at everything.
But I mean, it's true though. Like, I had the goofy grin on. I was enjoying the adventure and going, you know, like, there they go. What is going on over here? You know, so I'm actually pretty sure, because they do some wonderful there's wonderful subtleties to things in this movie that you know, they could have hit you over the head with. There are amazing comical things that I found that I was just like, oh, I see that. I saw that, you know. And so I'm sure I'll experience that even more when I can see all the screen at the same time. So, but I don't know. Like I said, I felt very joyful watching the movie. And the parts that were supposed to make you feel sad, they connected with me on a personal level in several ways. But I wasn't alone. Like, looking around the theater, you could tell people were all broken up when they needed to be broken up. This is the guy that did Logan, so he knows what he's doing.
James Mangold.
Yeah. So
that's good.
He came in, he did it, and he did it upright. So if there's never another indie movie, I am happy with the body of work that is left behind for me to enjoy. So, and there you go. That's my spoiler-free review.
Nice.
Go see it.
Good. I was going to ask if your overall recommendation is go see it.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely.
All right.
So,
I'm going to talk about Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. I'm going to give you the overall impression and the recommendation first, which is if you like the other Transformers movies, you will like this one.
Okay.
If you didn't like the other Transformers movies, you might like this one. This one, I would say, I would slot this in as like, think of the most middle of the road Marvel film that didn't knock your socks off, but you didn't hate it. It was like, you go, the plot is fairly coherent, you had fun. That's this Transformers movie.
All right, Ant-Man 2.
Solid
Ant-Man 2.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty solid Ant-Man 2 territory. Like, you're not winning any Oscars here, but
right.
It's still pretty good. Now, the thing that I like a lot is they added this character Mirage, who is played by Pete Davidson.
Okay.
Mirage is what Bumblebee should have always been.
Ah, okay.
He is like, I don't know. I still don't know why they did the Bumblebee only talks with a radio thing, even up until including this movie. Like that bit.
It's a funny gimmick to start with.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like at the end of the first movie, they partially repaired his voice, and he had a voice actor, and then they were like, there's a writer's strike. We forgot about that. Whatever.
It certainly seemed like they fixed his voice.
Yes.
And he was like, great. I want to stay with the boy.
I didn't like the voice that they picked, Mark Ryan, a little bit British, but I either way, I was like, oh, cool. He'll be an actual character and not like a puppy. I think it still worked in the Bumblebee movie because it helped him
it helped with the mystique.
Right.
In the
and
Bumblebee movie.
Like the fish out of water kind of thing. Like he can't even talk to people, but in this movie, Bumblebee has a severely diminished role, and Mirage is the character for humans, for the audience to connect with. The cast of this movie is fantastic. First off, Peter Cullen is 81 years old. I would just like to point out he is between Harrison Ford and Patrick Stewart. Oh. The Optimus in this movie is less psychopath and more just like pathos. Because it's hard to figure out what the content, where this movie lies, but it's somewhat carrying on from Bumblebee. And the idea of the movie, this is just kind of like the setup of the movie, is that the Autobots are stranded on Earth, and they have been since they followed Bumblebee to Earth. Okay. They have no ship to leave, So Optimus is upset that he is basically stranded Autobots on this planet. So that's his motivation for various things throughout the movie. As I went and looked up like all of the scenes that were cut from this movie, because they did massive changes to this movie. There are so many things from the trailers that are not in this movie.
Oh boy.
Like Optimus, there's a part where like Optimus is like running through a cave saying like, you have to wake up. We need your help. That is not in the movie at all. That whole whatever that was about is gone.
It's just gone.
Like you see Rhinox in the cave at one point in one of the trailers.
Okay.
That doesn't happen. In fact, going back to the casting, this really pissed me off. David Sobolov is the only voice actor from Beast Wars who is in this movie.
Oh.
They brought no other actors from Beast Wars for this movie, and he is playing Rhinox. Rhinox has no lines.
Oh no! Why?
He might say like one like word, at one point during the crazy CGI battle on the very, you can see it in the trailer, but like the very flat gray CGI landscape that they have their final battle in, which is,
sure.
But, Cheetor gets a couple of lines.
So what you're saying is the beasts aren't all that important?
Cheetor,
in the Rise of the Beasts?
Well, Air Razor has a big part in the movie, and she's played by who is the woman from Everything Everywhere All at Once? Michelle Yeoh, right? Isn't that from who?
Yes, I
Michelle
believe.
Yeoh. Air Razor has a pretty big part in the movie, and that's cool. Optimus Primal, I like as a character. Now, the other thing is they brought in, so David Sobolev doesn't just play Rhinox, he also plays Battle Trap and Ape Link, and they have lines, but not much.
Okay.
Ape Link is a BotCon character, and they put him in this movie, which I think is awesome.
Interesting choice.
John DiMaggio plays Transit and Stratosphere. Transit is completely cut from this movie. His entire thing is, I know about the scene that he was supposed to be in, and can I talk about, is it spoilery if I tell you about scenes that are not in the movie?
I think as long as they don't reveal huge plot points, I think you're fine.
So, like I said before, like Optimus is upset that they're stranded on the planet, right?
Sure.
The scene with Transit is a Decepticon who turns into a bus. And at one point in this deleted scene, Optimus is at a bus yard, and then Transit is there hidden, and he transforms and he fights Optimus, and Optimus kills him and throws him in the river, and you see his body float down and land on just like a massive pile of dead Decepticons. Because basically the deal is the Decepticons they know the Autobots are stranded. They keep sending people to kill them, and Optimus just murders them and throws them in the river. That whole thing is cut from the movie. But that might be for the best. The pathos that comes from that is still there, but that all is cut from the movie. But overall, Peter Dinklage plays the main bad guy, Scourge.
Okay.
I thought that was cool.
He's got a damn good voice for it.
Scourge is typical Transformers villain in that you just kind of assume he's evil. There's not really much more to it. I know he was supposed to have a lot more to him. That was cut.
Why? Was there reasons for these cuts? Is it time?
It was focus groups. They showed a cut to focus groups, and focus groups made them change a bunch of stuff. I don't understand really a lot of it. A lot of what was changed, because a lot of the stuff that was in there seemed like it was pretty cool. Supposedly, all the stuff that was finished is going to be in the digital release. Like 92 more minutes of film is going to be in the digital release, is what I read.
That's impressive.
I'm excited to see that. But anyway, I thought it was a very fun movie. There's a MacGuffin, of course. They have to get the MacGuffin away from the bad guys and then to the bad guys, and then they got assault. There were good, like they have to go to Machu Picchu, I think it was, for reasons.
That sounds cool.
There's a really good interactions between Optimus Primal and Optimus Prime. They don't explain enough about why he's called Optimus Primal. That was supposed to be in the movie, but he's just like, the movie pretty much establishes that the Maximals exist they're from a different planet. They exist simultaneously with Transformers.
Okay. I was going to ask. I was going to be like, why are they there? What's the deal? Are they,
Unicron is the main bad guy.
Okay.
I don't remember who plays Unicron. He has a couple of lines, but not much. Unicron is the main bad guy. They're trying to keep the MacGuffin away from Unicron. There's one line thrown in that they're from your past. The Maximals are from the Transformers past and future. And Optimus Prime was just like, I was named after the legendary Optimus Prime, even though we threw out all of the other stuff that would make that kind of a statement make sense. So anyway, I'm probably getting too much into the plot
I was gonna say,
of it.
we might be getting into some spoilery stuff here.
Either way, you have to basically assume that every Transformers movie is in its own continuity for the most part. there were a lot of good, like the human characters, Elena and Noah are good. They're good actors. They're not annoying, thank God. They're not white people, which was annoying, I noticed, to a lot of people. But overall, they were good actors.
They people were upset at their non-whiteness.
Yeah, there isn't a white guy as the lead actor of this movie, as the lead character.
Peter Cullen is in this movie.
No, the human characters. There's a lot of white people in the movie. There's tons of white people.
Peter Cullen's a white guy.
It's just the main human characters are people of color, and this pissed off a lot of people.
People bother me.
It pissed off the kind of people that you don't really mind if they're pissed off. They could just go do their thing.
I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I would have even thought about that.
I didn't think about it either until I saw a bunch of people complaining about it, and I was like, it hadn't even occurred to me that the lead, because there's tons of other characters in this movie. Like I have IMDb open, and they're like the only non-white people in this movie for the most part.
Everybody else in the movie is white. They're just the two human leads are people of color, and they're just like, no,
too many.
Not Transformers.
Anyway,
I knew I didn't like them. They're Transformers.
Oh, that's what it is. I would love to talk about how the original ending was changed. Because I learned this later. Yeah, we can talk about this later. I don't want to say what the original ending was, because then it kind of implies what the real ending is. Oh, because it's like the opposite, So I don't want to talk about it. But the original ending was very clearly setting up for a sequel, whereas this ending is just it is setting up for a sequel.
Well, I heard about,
but it's a different. Yes, we're
going to talk about the something later.
Yeah, stay for the after credits. It's just setting up for a sequel in a much different way.
Right.
So anyway, overall, I like it. It's got good humor. There's very little things that the kids would call cringe. John DiMaggio plays Stratosphere. Okay, this was a fantastic thing. Stratosphere is during the second movie, Revenge of the Fallen, Hasbro was just making toys of every single vehicle that appeared in the movie, whether it was a Transformer or not. And at the very beginning of the movie, Optimus Prime drives out the back of a cargo plane and then like parachutes down onto a Decepticon while they're playing Linkin Park or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And they put out a toy of that cargo plane with a super teeny tiny Optimus Prime that can drive out the back. And that cargo plane was Stratosphere. And it transformed into a thing that, scale-wise, because like the toy was like this big, and then it came with a little Optimus Prime. So it's like Optimus Prime is like the size of it. So imagine in real life how big he'd be. Mm-hmm. Because of that size disparity, for some reason he became like a very minor cult favorite. And they decided to put him in this movie. And he is their primary mode of transportation. He shows up when they need to go somewhere. They get in him. He flies somewhere else. He's Scottish. He's played by John DiMaggio. It's a fantastic use of both the character and the actor that is not overwhelming, but is still comical. So anyway, I highly recommend it. I do wish they had done more with the Maximals. The Maximals are around. Optimus Primal and Air Razor get a lot of screen time. They have character development. Cheetor and Rhinox are the only other ones around. They are around, and that is it.
That's depressing.
RC is good. She
looks cool in the trailers.
Yep, a lot of the scenes of her in the trailers are not in the movie. So, but there are other scenes. She's a relatively well-rounded character. Wheeljack has been living in Mexico. Or no, not Mexico. They're in South America. He's been living in South America since he arrived from after the Bumblebee movie, and has reformatted into a Steve Urkel looking van. And he speaks in a Spanish accent for the most part.
Okay.
Like a nerdy sounding Spanish accent. And that also pissed a lot of people off, because they were like, you got it so good. You got Wheeljack's design perfect in that Cybertron scene that you whipped up at the very last minute and just tacked onto the front of the Bumblebee movie because you needed to establish that it might be a different continuity, and then that turned out to be the best part of the movie, but that was an afterthought. And now they're like, well, if he was stuck on Earth, I actually think that his design I was told by the director, not personally, but he said on like in an interview,
I was told
Wheeljack's design was dictated by the studio and had already been set when he was signed on to direct the movie. They were like, he's going to look like this nerdy guy and figure out what to do with that. I don't, because the thing is,
why?
because the studio was like, he's the smart one. And the people watching the movie won't understand that he's the smart one if he doesn't have big nerd glasses. How will they possibly know that he's the smart one, Pat? This is literally the explanation.
I understand.
He can't just be a robot who is smart and does things. He has to look like they have to look at him and go, oh yeah, that's the smart one. He's got glasses. So
Sometimes I just am sad.
yeah, so they're like, I guess we'll try to figure out a way to work him in. But yeah, anyway, there's a couple of cool scenes. A couple. I mean, it's pretty good. Overall, I would recommend go see it if you have any interest in Transformers movies, go see it. I don't really think it's there. I wouldn't say I was disappointed. It was probably on par with Bumblebee. It has a different feel to it.
I was going to say, I really enjoyed Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of that had to do with Haley Steinfeld, because I think she's just awesome. But it felt fresh. It felt fun. It felt fun, which is something that Transformers movies were lacking in a lot. And so I was very hopeful, and it sounds like this one is kind of fun. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It is. The Bumblebee was a very human-focused movie. You see a lot of, it's mostly Haley Steinfeld and John Cena and Bumblebee, and Bumblebee does not talk, so it's very human-focused. This movie has more character development for the robot characters than probably all the other movies combined. Bumblebee gets
awesome.
No character development at all in this movie because he is not a character, essentially.
Right.
But most of the Transformers actually have story arcs in this movie, which is like, they're not all good story arcs, but there was an attempt. That's all. Which is saying something. So
right, sometimes that's all you can hope for.
Yeah.
So
what did they I was going to look up a Rotten Tomatoes score for this thing, but now I'm not going to. But that's it.
There you go.
I am going to look it up. Rise of the Beasts, Rotten Tomatoes. How did we end up doing here? 50. Oh, come on. Continue without ads. There we go. 54% from the reviewers, 91% from the audience. I'm pretty sure this has got to be like the highest audience score for a Transformers movie.
Yeah. I feel like the tomato meter is broken, I'll be honest with you. I feel like this has been a trend a lot lately. I'm going to look up Indiana Jones real quick now. Because I feel like it's very similar.
Do they pronounce it tomato meter? I've always called it the tomatometer, but whatever.
I'm sure you're right.
Tomatometer. The thing is, I read a lot of reviews when it came out, and so many of them, I believe this number, 54%, because so many of them were like, this movie is just a cheesy CGI fest, and it's shameful that they made this movie in the day and age that they make masterpieces like the Barbie movie, which no one has seen yet.
And yet we all know.
We all know it is a masterpiece. And I'm looking at this and being like, you guys put a BotCon character in this movie. Like, if you were me, and I'm like, this is as close as a masterpiece as we're going to get from Transformers, other than these various masterpiece Transformers I have on my desk.
Looks like Indiana Jones is leveling out. Early on, I saw that it had a rotten rating. It's currently at a 69.
Nice.
With an audience score of 88.
Okay.
So
that's pretty good.
I mean, the biggest problem I think that we have is he is old, and it's hard to get behind an old action hero, for some. I thought, and I told Amanda, I was like, I don't know if it's the jacket and the hat, but I know they're doing some of the heavy lifting here, but he doesn't look bad. You know what I mean? Like I think the dude could do some adventuring.
I'm looking at on the side of Rotten Tomatoes, it has like the scores of other movies that are in theaters, and I don't recognize any of these movies.
I agree. I also don't recognize any of these. The YouTube Effect.
What are
The
these?
Lesson? The League?
These
Amanda?
These are movies that opened to some of these are movies that opened today. Well, so the thing about Rise of the Beast is that it did get good reviews from the audiences, but like the box office, it was a big opening and then a cliff, you know. So it's going to make its money back, but it's not a hit, you know.
Well, and that's part of the problem too. Like I know Indiana Jones suffered from like the initial reviews were like, oh, it was really boring and I don't know here, and so like it had a lot of like negative reviews, and so I know it didn't open huge, but literally everybody who I've talked to who saw it enjoyed themselves, you know. And I don't know if maybe that's just all of us being like, hooray for our hero, but I don't care either. Like I did enjoy myself. So I don't know. I think time will tell, but you know, not all of these things have time anymore. That's the problem. You know, I've listened to a number of clips on YouTube that basically say, you know, the industry has lost a lot of footing just because of the way streaming goes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be that you could release, you know, I was listening to like Matt Damon talk about why there's not as many indie movies coming out anymore. And it would be like, yeah, you used to be able to release an indie movie in theaters and it would make next to nothing, but then it would come out on video and you would make all your money.
Yeah.
And it's like that. It's just not an option anymore because you maybe get it signed up on Netflix, so at least it gets seen, but you're not going to make money.
Right.
You know?
And they're just going to eventually remove it as a tax write-off.
Right.
That's what they're doing for all their things now.
Oh, and we could talk about the whole streaming epidemic all night, so we don't have to open that.
I was also thinking, because I was thinking about when we went on vacation, my daughter and my wife went and saw the new Little Mermaid movie. And
did they like it?
They loved it, yeah.
Oh, good.
We spent the whole second week only listening to the new Little Mermaid soundtrack.
Nice.
Because they basically recreated all the songs, and then they added like 3 more songs.
Oh, dear.
They are, for the most part, good, I would say. Who do you call it? Melinda McCartney? Is that who you call her? Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy sings the Poor Unfortunate Soul song, and it's fantastic.
Right.
Because she also plays the thing. Anyway.
She plays that Ursula character.
She plays that character. It brought me back to when I was a kid and we were camping with a camper, but in the exact same state park, there was a summer where we only listened to the Little Mermaid soundtrack.
That's awesome.
And so, like, my parents came out for a day and we were driving around and the kids were like, we got to listen to Little Mermaid. My mom was like, oh, no, are we doing the thing again? I'm like, yeah, but it's the new soundtrack this time. So, and I was trying to think about, like, what year was that? And it wasn't 89. It was, like, several years later because it was, like, it came out in 89. But we didn't see it till like 90 or 91 because they had to wait like a year for it to come out on video. And then you had to wait for my parents to see it and rent it. You know, so it was like it wasn't when it first came out. I didn't see it until many years later, I think.
I assume that's how
I think it was like 1992.
When I was a kid, I was completely and utterly, I don't know about ill-informed or just stupid, but I did not understand what a soundtrack was. Because I remember there being a radio contest where you could win the soundtrack to Aladdin. And I loved Aladdin. And I really wanted the soundtrack because what I thought it was literally the soundtrack of the movie.
Just the audio.
The audio, like it's just like you can listen to the movie on the go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was disappointed to find out later because I did not win. the radio contest.
Unfortunately.
But I was disappointed to find out later that it was just the songs. So it's like, well, the songs are fine, but I mean, what about? I want the whole story. So yeah, I was a dumb kid.
And it made me also, and I was trying. The reason I landed on 1992 is because I was like, that same year, my dad, when we took a trip into town, bought me Batman Returns figures.
Ooh.
And then we drive into town listening to The Little Mermaid, and there's all these Michael Keaton Batman figures in the store, and I'm like, oh my God. And that was the same year my dad bought me a Jurassic Park Pteranodon, and there's a Jurassic World Pteranodon here next. I'm like, oh, we're in the same,
Yep.
like, I'm just,
yeah.
We're doing it all again.
Doing it all again. Yeah, it's really funny how it all seems to come round.
Yep.
You know, it's it will, like you said, it just going to the toy store. Well, toy store. I wish we had a toy store. Going to the Target these days, it's Ninja Turtles and He-Man and Transformers,
and in many cases reissues, like the exact
like
figures
literal
again, not just new ones.
figures. Oh, you know what I just found out the other day? I don't know if you remember telling you about these, and I don't know if I talked about it on the show, but Marvel has started coming out with these like 4-inch figures. I feel like they're not quite 3 3/4 inch, but they're like nicely detailed action figures. They came out with a set of them for Guardians. They've just had a couple of random, like, some Spider-Man figures when Spider-Verse hit. They weren't technically for the movie.
Yeah.
But they're releasing X-Men 97. And so we're going to get X-Men toys all over the place again, and I'm really excited for it.
We're getting really close to X-Men 97 coming out.
Yeah, I don't know when. When is it? Do you remember when it's coming out? Is there a date even officially?
I don't know, but I feel like we're getting close.
We have to if they're releasing the toys.
97.
The toys weren't even announced. They were just, people were like finding them at Targets, and they were like, "Yep, here they are."
Late 2023.
Yeah, that's all. That's all they've had for a long time now. Now I do hate that they did the same thing they did with He-Man, where they came out and they announced that this was going to be a sequel to the original series, and it's absolutely exactly the original series, the next step. And now all of a sudden, I keep hearing the same phrase that I heard with He-Man. This is a spiritual sequel to the original. Now, at least this time we have the original voice actors back, the ones that weren't problematic and are still alive. And I hear that the storyline is going to be taking off from the same point where we left off. But like, what this confirmed, though, they put some new images on these figure packages, and like for some reason, Storm is still in the white, X-Men animated series outfit, but she has the mohawk. And Bishop is wearing the same clothes, but he's got short hair now.
Yeah, people can get haircuts.
They can get haircuts.
But they should probably change their clothes periodically.
See, I would have been much better if they were just like, Storm's in the black outfit, and she has the mohawk.
Yeah.
And Bishop, I mean, I guess Bishop always kind of had that same outfit. But I mean, if there was just more than just like, why did you make him cut his hair? I loved his mullet. He had a beautiful mullet. And the most insulting, the most painful, hurts my heart. They have taken Morph's face away, and he has the Age of Apocalypse white face.
Oh, that's not good.
But from the neck down, it's the same Morph. I do not like that.
No, I don't like that either.
So I'm not happy about that one. Like I said, the Storm, I always dug the mohawk. I think it's cool, but I really do think she should transition at least to the black version of the animated costume. You know what I mean? It's the same costume, just in black, and it just goes better with the mohawk, I think. I also feel like Bishop's haircut was arbitrary, and I feel like I've never seen Bishop with short hair. It probably happened, but
yeah,
like
I've never
seen it. You know what I mean? He's always either had long hair, like the long dreadlock kind of a haircut. I've seen that. But like just short hair, just I don't know. I don't love it. And of course, they obviously, to whereas like the characters are still similarly drawn, it is definitely a slightly different style. And I just hate that they even were like, it's a sequel, mostly. just either do it or don't. That's all I'm saying. Like, just say, yeah, X-Men, making it X-Men 97, especially, like, you're really trying to force the idea that this is a sequel to the thing that we all loved. And then you're like, yeah, but we are going to change stuff. Just so you know, we totally are definitely going to change stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't like the morph thing. Very upset about the morph thing.
Yeah.
The rest of it is passable. Hopefully he just constantly is changing his face and we never have to look at the stupid white face. Or at the very least, I hope that these changes are addressed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Morph, Storm, and Bishop all go out together for lunch, and they come back with haircuts, and Morph's just like, I just changed my face to this. I'd be okay with it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll probably be okay with it if that's how they handled it.
Honestly, I don't really care if they address Storm and Bishop at all, but there should be some sort of ridiculous and hilarious explanation for Morph given explicitly. Of like, hey, this was a bet or something like that. They bet me that I couldn't have a face for like 2 years or something like that. I don't know.
The only thing that I would accept, I'm going to go on the record as saying I will accept this if this is it, is if this is like, this helps him put an end to his like dual personalities.
Yes.
Was just to wipe the whole bad Morph, and now he's just.
Or he's like, I did this once to make fun of Mr. Sinister and it got stuck that way.
He is bald. Maybe he was just pretending to be Professor X. And he's just like, uh-oh, I lost my face.
I don't know.
Again, if like some kind of hilarious Deadpool-esque like shenanigans are going on where he's sitting in Professor X's chair and turns around and he's just got the white face. And he's like, nah, I'm going to keep it like this. Well, in solidarity with Professor X and his hair loss struggles.
We'll just have to wait and see. You know what? I just read. I'm putting 2 and 2 together here. They started talking to Disney about doing this show before Norm Spencer died. Like Norm Spencer died about a year into, like it was before they announced the show. So I'm sure they never told him about it yet. But behind the scenes, they were already planning this show before he died. The guy who played Cyclops.
Right. Yeah, I'm sad about that. I don't know how they're gonna make. I don't know. Cyclops had such a distinctive sounding voice.
Yeah.
So
who did they get to play him? I don't know. Does it even say?
I think so. I think the official list was given.
Yeah. There's a list of actors in here. They're just like, additionally, there's all these people, but they don't say who they go to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, we also know that Jubilee got recast, but willingly.
Yeah.
Like the actress who played Jubilee was not Asian American, and they wanted to get an Asian American in there, which I think that there's a whole conversation in there. I think it's fine as long as everybody's cool with it. I don't like seeing anybody lose a job over it. But the fact that they're willing and that they kept her on, she's going to play just a different character, I guess. That's okay. But I have my qualms with the whole idea. You either have to buy into acting or you don't. People can either pretend to be things that they're not or they can't. Those are the 2 options as far as I'm concerned. As long as you're not being disrespectful. That's the other thing.
It looks like they cast someone as Mr. Sinister, but not the original Mr. Sinister. And if this is not, I'm trying to look this up real fast. If this is not the original guy, I'm going to be upset. But yeah, there's no voice actor listed for Cyclops, but there are voice actors on IMDb that they don't know who they're playing. So
Gotcha.
Anyway, I think we're going to call it here because we're way over time now. We're over budget, over time. Okay. We went way too long. We're going to have to pay like $100,000 to the server gods for this. So like and subscribe to help us pay the bill. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Pay that bill down.
Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye. Pat, stall while I look for the button. It's been a while.